The emergency room doors crash open at 2:17 a.m. in a small-town Texas hospital, and a man staggers in wearing nothing but blood-soaked fatigues and one boot. His left arm is wrapped in a torn tourniquet made from his own belt, the skin beneath it gray and lifeless. The triage nurse takes one look and screams for trauma. He collapses against the desk, growls "I'm fine," and tries to walk away. Security rushes in, but he drops two of them with moves so fast they look like movie choreography. Then he locks eyes with the head nurse, a woman in her late 50s with tired eyes and a name tag that reads M. Carter, and something in him breaks. He sits, but when they wheel him towards surgery, he grabs the gurney rails with his good hand and refuses to let go. No needles, no drugs. I walk out of here the same way I walked in. The doctors argue, threaten, plead. Gangrene is already climbing his arm. He doesn't budge. Hours pass. The hand turns black. Nurse Carter has been watching from the corner the whole time. She's quiet, the kind of quiet that makes younger nurses nervous. Finally, she walks over, leans down so only he can hear, and whispers 5 words that freeze every person in the bay. Black Falcon sends his regards. The sniper's head snaps toward her so hard something in his neck pops. His eyes, dead for hours, suddenly flood with recognition, then terror, then something softer. Tears. He hasn't cried since Fallujah. He releases the rails. "You're Carter?" he whispers. She nods once. Room 312. Now. They wheel him past the stunned staff. Once the door closes, he starts shaking, not from the arm, from memory. He tells her his name is Sergeant Elias Reed, 1st Recon Battalion, the ghost who once dropped 12 insurgents from a mile out in Ramadi. He tells her about the ambush outside Kandahar 6 months ago, how the whole team went dark, how he was the only one who crawled out. He's been running ever since, convinced the agency that burned them is still hunting the last witness. That's why no hospitals, no records, no names. He'd rather lose the arm than risk leading them to the families of the men he couldn't save. Nurse Carter listens without interrupting. When he finishes, she pulls a small silver pin from under her scrubs, a tiny falcon clutching an arrow. Same pin every member of that Black Ops nursing detachment wore in 2007. She was their combat medic, the one who dragged Elias out of a burning MRAP when he was just a 22-year-old kid with his first confirmed kill. She thought he died in the explosion. He thought she did. For 18 years they've both been ghosts. She doesn't waste time on hugs. She pages the best surgeon in the state, a man who owes her his life from a different war, and tells him if he breathes a word about this patient, she'll end him. Then she sits beside Elias and starts the 4 herself, the one he swore he'd never let touch his vein. "Your team isn't all gone," she says quietly. 2 of them made it out. "They're in witness protection. They think you're dead. I've been checking the lists every month since I got home." She reaches into her pocket and slides a folded photograph across the sheet. 3 men in civilian clothes alive, smiling at a barbecue last 4th of July. Elias stares at it until the tears blur the faces he memorized in fire. The surgeon takes the arm just below the shoulder, but he saves more than anyone thought possible. Elias wakes up to Nurse Carter asleep in the chair beside him, still wearing blood-stained scrubs. On the tray table sits a new Falcon pin and a burner phone with one saved text, "Welcome home, brother. We've been waiting. Rooster." For the first time in 6 months, Elias Reed closes his eyes without checking the door. Weeks later, a tall man in a cowboy's cap walks into that same ER carrying a massive bouquet of bluebonnets. He finds Nurse Carter at the desk, sets the flowers down, and salutes with his new prosthetic hand. She smiles, the first real smile anyone there has ever seen from her. He whispers, "Thank you, ma'am," turns, and walks out into the Texas sunrise, no longer a ghost. That was the night one whispered code from a war 17 years cold saved a warrior who had already given up on being saved. Sometimes the battlefield follows you home, but sometimes, against all odds, so does the person who once carried you through the fire. If this story hit you in the chest the way it hit me telling it, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss the next one. These stories of quiet heroes don't tell themselves. And let me know in the comments, from which part of the country are you watching this video right now? I read every single one.